Приветушки-плюшки, я Тори, и мы продолжаем проходить Enderal. Короче! Третий раз уже или четвертый тут в этом месте. Даже музыка играет до сих пор. Я добежала вот до туда, до этого места, до которого нам нужно. Подождите, я туда бегу. Сделала, что нужно. И у меня просто в одном месте начала вылетать игра. Я надеюсь, сейчас я смогу это преодолеть. Очень постараюсь. Просто бежи. Давайте я сохранюсь вот здесь. Хотя можно было, конечно, и в другом месте. Ну да ладно.
Good. Now let's see what we can do to deactivate this alarm.
Так, секунду. Я уже знаю, что будет, поэтому я, с вашего позволения.
So,
оно так мало работает.
Damn it, but... Run!
Стойте. Все, побежали! Да ран, я-то ран уже. Ты там не умри. Все, отлично, еще раз сохранюсь. Короче, я попадала постоянно в молнию, и меня убивал этот вонючий дракон. Джеспар! Стоп, куда идти-то? Подождите. Что с Джеспаром, я не понимаю. Это не дракон. Это просто катамон. Так, ладно, окей, хорошо. Побежали куда-нибудь уже. Я спаслась, и уже хорошо. Ой, а я, походу, в ловушку себя загнала. Ну что ж, все мы ошибаемся. Видите, что надо? Вот куда.
If I had been on board the ship when that flying thing attacked us. Luckily, I wasn't. Legion didn't make it. It all just happened too fast.
Shit. Just the only survivor.
Как мы отсюда выберемся?
Only once. So the Starling and the Magistrate didn't make it either. Oh, Kirash. How many more must die? Magistrate Jaela, she didn't deserve that. I'm ashamed to ask, but what about the Numinos? Did you find anything out about it? A map. This is what I call a coincidence. I think I know where we can find one. And up there could also be our passage back.
Up where?
Follow me, I'll show you.
Ты чё, что-то нашла тут? Блин, началось самое интересное. Я не знаю, как я вообще перестану что-нибудь записывать. Какая, блин, серия.
How did you make it here anyway? And what is this? Some kind of tunnel system?
I think so, yes. They must have been shortcuts for the ones tasked with keeping this place running to quickly get from one point to the other. Which is what we need right now. And concerning your first question, I suppose I simply got lucky. There was another entrance to the tower we overlooked.
Кстати, это не курочки, это какие-то... Просто какие-то птички. Но это выглядит так, как будто здесь, как это, типа вагонетки было. Ох, ребята. Хочу сесть, мне страшно. Ладно, надо бежать, значит, нужно не бояться. Блин, ну красиво так. Красиво, так все заросло, правда. Лепота. Где он? Я хотела скринить. Где он? Ой.
won't hold up for long. Care to fill us in on your plan now, girl?
First, we need to find our map. And then, well, then we each take a seat in one of these capsules and let ourselves drop.
We let ourselves drop.
They are escape pods. Kormai had similar ones in the airship, and I just hope they work as intended. Unless you have a better plan, of course.
I'm
Вот так
afraid
кругом.
not.
Это капсула.
Then get going.
Ага.
Let's find that map.
Ты предлагаешь ее здесь искать? Так, мне это не нравится. Кажется, мне хочется сюда пробиться. Стоп. А, фух, мне показалось. Испорченная книга. Старая карта. О боже, это на время!
Now to the pods, quickly!
Где она? Сейчас ее искать буду дольше. Ну? Где вход? Вход-то где? А! Я нервничаю, когда на время я не могу. Я нервничаю очень сильно, когда нужно на время действовать. Все, садись, поехали. Пожалуйста, не умрите только. Ребята, я без вас не хочу. Что ж, где? Неплохо. По крайней мере, мы живы. Так. О. Дровки.
By the wise hermit. You're well.
Да уж,
Either
полет
these
был так
ancient
себе.
starfolk had butts made of shadow steel, or they should seriously rework the landing parts of these things. Come on, let's go look for the girl. She can't be far from here.
Ну, куда вообще, как она вообще успела уже куда-то свалить? Калия, ты там не умерла?
Look, over there.
Ой, Калия,
Oh
походу.
my.
Калия, не умирай. Персонаж занят.
She lives. Looks like a minor laceration to me and maybe a broken rib. I guess the force of the impact threw her against this rock. Still, we should get her to a healer.
Ну, хорошо, как это сделать?
Do you have the map? I think teleport magic should work again down here.
Да.
Good. Then at least all this wasn't for nothing. Let's go.
So the High Ones devour our consciousnesses. Now that's what I call ironic. Maybe Koarik and his free people do become part of these higher beings they so adore after all. We should tell them. Maybe they'll be so delighted that they will abandon the siege and sail right back to Naren.
Spare us your jests. Archmagister, how long will you need to decipher the map? Archmagister?
I don't know. A couple of days, at least. I should start right away. Excuse me.
Ну, подозрительный.
What's the matter with him?
Jaela was his mentor during his novitiate. But he will get over it. He has to. You did well, prophetess. Despite the complications, the mission was a complete success.
A complete success? What in blazes has happened to you, Tila?
Nothing. And now is not the time for quarreling.
Yayla is dead, Tila. Just like Jorek. Jorek for the name of the gods. And none of this would have happened if we had just given Quarrick this idiotic machine. Please, Tila, if my opinion means anything to you, let go of this madness.
I don't care about your opinion. Jorek was a traitor, and Yayla gave her life for something greater than herself. But the latter in particular seems to be something you cannot relate to. Now, silence. I've had enough of your attempts to hinder our mission. Back to the topic at hand. Sharon, what do you make of Jaela's plan to use the word of the dead to enter a High One's mind? I always thought it only enabled its user to relive the last memories of the deceased.
Well, if the High Ones are made of a collective subconsciousness, they are different in that regard. They consist only of memories, and a lot of them. That is, of course, if the Magistra's theory about them is true.
I'm no sage, but having seen the Starling's murals, I'd say it is. Mankind ascends to become a High One. This is what the cleansing really is.
Then it might work. Used on a High One, the word of the dead could allow us to enter its spirit.
We will take the risk. The walls still hold against Quarrick's armies, but we need to hurry. As soon as the Arcanists have figured out the map, we will set out to find this city of 1,000 floods. If you have any unfinished business to attend to, you should do it now. Many things will be decided by what's to come. I feel it. And the apothecary said that Sister Sakarish will live. She's in the Curarium, in case you want to pay a visit.
Вот и она, точка невозврата.
That's the prophetess, isn't it?
Так, поговорить с Теолором, посетить церемонию похорон. Подождите, пока... Господи, как много. Давайте говорить сразу.
You know, I know Natara better than you might believe. And I know the reason for her untouchable demeanor. Fear. She's afraid of losing something important to her. Something that she helped to create, and that is the Order. You probably do not know this, but unlike most keepers, Natara was not born of the Sublime Path. Even more than us, she had to fight for her place here. And through immense willpower and discipline, she made it. Not only to become an ordinary keeper, but into the highest league. Correct. It is all she has ever lived for, and she's afraid that change will destroy it. Your admission into our ranks, our truce with Narazul's mages. She believes that my imprisonment made me into a fool whose only intent is to get his will. She does not realize that all that has happened burdens me as much as it burdens her. And that I would give a lot for her support, rather than this ridiculous bickering. That's none of your concern, but I presume you have your assumptions. Everybody needs someone to back them up from time to time. You know, as humans, we are not so different from animals as some try to make us believe. We are like wolves, and every pack needs a leader. Someone in front who is not afraid to make the hard calls. And this is who I am. I did not ask for it, but I will not fail. If my resolve weakens, the others will lose their courage, and I cannot let that happen. But that does not mean that I regret any of the decisions I have made. None of them.
Хорошо, так, теперь сейчас все сделаем задание. В принципе, я уже готова к тому, чтобы завершить игру. Калия в лазарете. Посетить церемонию. Ну ладно, идем. Сейчас всех посетим. Ой, я правда не очень не знаю, куда нам надо идти. Ну, куда-нибудь придем. Конечно, не знаю, сколько еще это будет серий. Но если это уже прям конец, то, я думаю, осталось немного. Приветики.
Saira, what are you doing here? Better. Thanks for asking. I suppose it looked worse than it actually ended up being. I see. I don't think this is the end, though. I will be back on my feet again in a couple of hours and will help defend the temple.
Ой, да ладно
Nothing
тебе.
is worse than lying around like this. Just find the numinos for us, Saira. That is all that matters.
Так, хорошо, с Кали пообщались. Конечно, что-то меня не очень радует ее настрой. Мне так интересно. О, пришли. Ой. Пришли.
What?
And so the circle closes, as it does for these 3 virtuous souls we are mourning today. But fear not, for they gave their life for a just cause, for the greater good, and will thus be walking on the endless paths forever, together with our Lord Malthus. Magistra Jailer, keeper of the 3rd sigil and master of the archives. Stalwyn Willowsong, keeper of the 1st sigil. And Legium Lightman Novice. May the Lord receive your souls today and grant you that you may walk the paths for eternity.
Oh, just shut up, won't you? As if you believe any of this yourself.
Keeper, you...
Malthus is dead. Our Lord is dead. And if even he could not last through the ages, how is he supposed to lead us along the eternal paths? A dead god?
Take her away.
Yes, just go on. Close your eyes and pretend that none of this is happening. It's what you've always been good at. The cleansing is our punishment, don't you see? The
I just don't
punishment
see the
because we
fucking point.
failed the Lightborn. That we let someone kill them. And the High Ones will take us all. Do you hear me? They will take us all.
Ну, психанула, бывает. Ничего страшного.
Keep going.
But...
Keep going.
Magistra Jailer, keeper of the 3rd sigil and master of the archives. Stalwyn Willowsong, keeper of the 1st sigil. And Legium Lightman Novice. May the Lord receive your souls today and grant you that you may walk the paths for eternity.
Все, покеда. Так, я не буду это выполнять все, ребята. Я уже не хочу. Да и смысла уже нет, в принципе. Единственное, знаете, что надо прокачать какое-нибудь воспоминание. Правда, я уже не знаю даже, что качать. Мне уже качать-то нечего. Давайте глаз бури. Где он? Я нифига не пользуюсь, ну как бы вдруг буду. Короче, ребятки, я дождалась, бежим. Надо сейчас с паром еще поговорить сначала. Где-то он тут меня ждет. Вон он, конечно, стоит, любуется природой. Городом. Ты меня ждал?
It's good to see you. So, shall we do this? The Grandmaster said by tonight Skyrim should have deciphered the old maps.
Вот он, этот момент. Погнали.
All right then. Let's wait until nightfall.
Зачем?
Go on ahead. I'll follow.
Зачем мы ночи ждали? Сейчас пар сопроводить. Ничего не сопроводить, говорит, иди первой. Ну шо?
Prophetess, there's good news. We were able to decipher the Starling's maps, and we now know where to find the City of a Thousand Floods. Sharon was just about to explain. Sharon?
Yes. I suppose you already know that Vin hasn't always been like it is now.
Ой, давай без этих уроков истории, вообще не того.
Which they called Pangora. Only the Starfall in the era of Azataron's madness split it apart. In other words, the Pyreans dominated the entire world as it was back then. It was a world empire. However, until recently, we always thought that the Empire's capital, the City of a Thousand Floods, was situated somewhere near where Kira is today. We were wrong about that. It was here, in Enderal.
Here?
Here, beneath our feet, to be precise.
Under Ark?
Yes. We don't know
В
whether it's a
Подгороде.
coincidence that Malfa's vassals set the foundation of Ark here, out of all the places they could have. But they did. The heart of the Pyrean Empire was here, right where we stand. Only it's buried now. Hardly.
Sadly, the Order never cared much for archaeology. We considered it a useless endeavor. And even if there had been private undertakings, the dangers such an expedition posed, let alone its costs, would have scared off most investors.
But still, you're right. If the Order would have bothered, we could have saved ourselves a lot of trouble. However, it doesn't matter now. What matters is we now know where the last cleansing took place, and that it's somewhere we can reach. True, but there might be another way. Do you know the myth of the Black Guardian? The Endralians believe that there is some kind of demon deep down below the surface, and that you can even hear him scream if you just listen carefully. Rubbish, of course, but I think that these screams are the sound of wind. And if there's wind...
There are tunnels. So you're saying that the Undercity's cavern reaches that deep? Into the City of Floods?
into what is left of it. All we need to do is find an entrance point that can lead us down.
Then we leave without further delay. There's no point in leading an army down there, so the four of us will go alone. Prophetess, speak to the Archmagister and tell him to give you the word of the dead and the container for the Numinos. We will need both. He's at the beacon.
Shouldn't we at least think this through before we go?
Ready your equipment. We'll meet at the gate to the Undercity.
Huh?
Ладно, хорошо, мне нравится то, что он торопится, потому что мне очень интересно. Я записываю уже какую серию, я не хочу останавливаться. Слишком интересно стало все. Ах, этот звук.
Keep walking.
Ах, как я буду без него?
Oh, aren't you... never mind. How can I help you? He was. But he went to get something. Why don't you wait until he comes back? I have to admit that it's a great honor to finally meet you in
Да
person.
ладно тебе.
You know, when all this started, when the Grand Master exalted you, I thought it was a sin, granting an Outlander what we have to fight so hard for. But now, phew, I think Malphas, or whoever sent you, that he did. We owe you a lot. Really. Oh, don't thank me. Say, may I ask you something?
Давай.
It. The beacon. Do you really think it'll work? I mean, I'm just a novice, but
Хочу
if
спросить.
it can really banish the High Ones, how come the Pyreans couldn't save themselves? I just don't understand. You know, I lost someone not too long ago. It was the Naramese, under the command of that butcher Korik. My family has a small farm near the coast, and when the first of the Naramese ships landed, I immediately rode to them to get them into the city, into safety. I'm sorry. This isn't easy. Our farm. It's on a small cliff near the farmer's coast. Just a few miles from Ark. I already had a bad feeling when I set out. And then I saw the smoke. And then there was that smell. And the smell of burnt meat. It was everywhere. I rode faster and faster, and then when I got to the house, I saw that it was on fire, and that someone had put up 3 crosses, and they were burning too. My mother, my father, and my sister, they were still alive, you know? And I just stood there, and there was nothing I could do. Do you understand? Nothing. And it doesn't matter how I try to look at it. It all amounts to one thing. I was too weak. I was too late, and I was too weak. That wouldn't have happened to you, would it? You would have done something. You would have saved them. Just as you'll save us.
Ошибаешься.
If I could just be more like you, then Your flesh.
Так, все понятно. Очередная
Yes, that's
поехавшая.
All I need is a piece of your flesh. And nothing like that will ever happen again. Why? Is that so hard to understand? I don't want much.
Ну ты с ума сошла.
But you just don't want to share. Isn't that it? You want it all for yourself. Because you're vain. And in all your damn vanity, you don't even see the futility of the whole thing. The beacon won't burn. It never will. Thousands have tried it before you. Thousands who are as arrogant as you are. And they all failed.
How did they say? Just let yourself fall.
Because the light will burn.
Опять вы.
It will devour you until there's nothing left of you. Nothing but burnt flesh.
Nice and crisp. You're familiar with that, aren't you?
Пропhetess. О боже, как громко.
We need to stop them.
Ребята! Ну хватит! Мне заканчивать надо, вот себе так позволять. Ой, какой он толстый, я же его победил. Мне тут еще огнем пыхает. Так, знаете, что надо? Вот это вроде. Или нет? Так, подождите. Защита от огня. Это немножко. Хоть кто-нибудь тут со мной сражается? О, это же этот. Ой. Ой. Ай-яй-яй. Магистр тут со мной. Может, в печень никто не вечен. Подожди.
By the name of the sun. They were possessed. How is that possible? I thought the sigil stone protects us. Oh, of course. Wait.
Давайте быстренько, пока он смотрит это. Не попрощаюсь.
The damage is within acceptable limits.
Хорошо.
To repair. But wait, what is that noise?
Опять напали.
Oh, by the righteous path.
Я не вижу ничего.
I think you should see this.
What in blazes happened here? And what is that noise?
The Nervese. They are in the city. Their entire army.
What? No. This is impossible. This
Опять
is
не
impossible!
защищать.
And this? What's the meaning of this bloodbath?
I don't know, Grandmaster. The High Ones somehow were able to possess the Keepers here. They tried to destroy the beacon and kill the Prodigy.
What? But the stone, we...
Grandmaster, you have to see this.
What? That the Narimes are in the city? I know that already.
No, we know how they did it. The true Chessa betrayed us.
Еще одна.
Nonsense.
It's the truth. She and almost a third of the keepers followed Bartar's example. Come, you should hear it for yourself.
Так, потом, ребята, потом, в следующей серии. Уже времени много. И это придала какие всего-то... Чё всегда так, когда нужно серию заканчивать, что происходит? Ладно, ребятки, всем спасибо за просмотр. Подписывайтесь на канал, на мои соцсети. Нажимайте на колокольчик, чтобы получать уведомления о новых видео. Ставьте лайки, пишите комментарии. И всем пока.